Tonight, the stage is set.
Always known as a dumb guy.
For tonight's first presidential debate between President Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden.
He's going to want to make it personal. He's going to want to get in the mosh pit. I'm going to talk about why I want to be president of the United States.
Plus,
the biggest threat to this election is these unsolicited ballots sent out by the millions.
the president's warning over mail-in voting, our look at election security.
And
I said, Lord, why did you lead me there?
American Roots, the return to prayer and worship where the pilgrims spent their first winter.
All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
Not by tweet or even by dueling TV ads. Tonight, the 2020 hopefuls finally go face-to-face. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm John Jessup.
And I'm Jenna Browder. All eyes are on Cleveland as President Trump and Joe Biden prepare for their first debate this evening.
And among the biggest questions, how the president handles being on the defensive following a New York Times report about his taxes, and how Joe Biden will fare going toe-to-toe sharing the stage with Donald Trump. CBN Washington correspondent Tara Mergener has this look ahead.
For 90 minutes, voters will have the chance to compare the candidates' policies and personalities side by side. The pressure will be great as both will no doubt face tough questions about their records, the economy, and the pandemic. There's no pre-debate handshake, but the gloves are long off.
A dumb guy. Always known as a dumb guy.
Tonight, it is head-to-head for the first time in this race.
Look, the people know the president's a liar. I mean, they know that. It's not like it's going to come as a surprise to them.
President Trump won the coin flip for the first question. Only about 80 to 100 people will be in the audience at Case Western, with everyone in masks except the candidate and the moderator. The official topics for tonight's debate include their records, the economy, the Supreme Court, race and unrest, and the pandemic. Also sure to take center stage, a report by the New York Times alleging President Trump paid $750 in federal income tax the year he won the White House.
It's totally fake news. Made up, fake.
Biden has been preparing behind closed doors.
He's going to want to make it personal.
While the president has been non-stop on the campaign trail, with 9 events just in the last week.
How many hours would you say you've spent on debate?
A little time. I mean, not a lot.
More or less than 60.
I'm running a country. I don't have the luxury.
But he's still trying to downplay expectations.
He's been doing it for 47 years, and I've just started doing this stuff.
Meanwhile, back here in Washington, it is full steam ahead on the president's Supreme Court nominee as Amy Coney Barrett meets today with Senate Republicans on Capitol Hill.
All right, that was Tara Mergener reporting. Thank you, Tara. And you can catch the debate live on CBN News. Just go to our YouTube page or cbnnews.com. Once again, the debate starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, and there is a lot to talk about.
And with us now, Joe Collins, a U.S. Navy veteran and Republican nominee for California's 43rd District. Joe, thanks for being with us. Joe, what do you see and what do you expect to see tonight? The president has already accused Joe Biden of using drugs. Do you anticipate this will be a no-holds-barred cage match?
You know what? I would hope it'd be a no-holds-barred cage match. And the reason why is because when I look at the president's campaign, he has not gotten a fair shot from the Democratic Party ever since he has been in office. So I'm really curious as to see what's going to happen between him and Vice President Joe Biden once they step in the ring toe-to-toe. I'm really excited. I'm not going to be counting gaffes this time from Joe Biden, but I want to see the talking points. I want to see what Joe Biden's plan for America is, and I want to compare that to what President Trump's plan for America is, so we can have the ability to make a very informed decision.
Today, Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett was up on Capitol Hill meeting with senators to get this process going. Her confirmation hearing starting in about 2 weeks. Do you think the Supreme Court will be a big issue tonight?
You know what? I'm not 100% certain. I think that whenever you are elected into office, whether you're the Senate or the President of the United States, your job does not stop just because an election is right around the corner. And if they do make a big deal about it, I hope that the Vice President and the Democratic Party understands that you have to work 365 days a year, 366 days on a leap year, and we expect nothing less than to get a new Supreme Court justice nominated into office. So I hope it's not a big deal, but who knows what's going to happen.
Joe, to the president's handling of the pandemic, how much do you think that will come into play tonight?
I think that it's definitely going to come into play. A lot of the decisions that he has made is going to come into question, but hopefully the president has a great explanation as to why he handled the pandemic in the manner that he has handled it in, understanding that we are in times unlike anything before. So everything that anyone can say that this should have been done like that or that should have been done like that is only a mere assumption. I think the president has done a good job. He's done the best that he can with what he is giving. And I mean, we could ask for nothing more.
You know, protests and violence have flared across the country all summer over police injustice. Joe, the president keeps playing to law and order. Is that going to work tonight?
Law and order is absolutely going to work tonight. The majority of Americans want to see our streets safe. We don't want our businesses or housing burned down from violent protesters. And, you know, Joe Biden and people like Maxine Waters and the rest of the Democrats has been proponents to burning things down. And they also been a catalyst to say that they can control the violent protests, which brings a lot of questions to my mind. But a lot of Americans, they want safety, they want protection. We want our law enforcement to do a really good job of protecting and serving our communities. And hopefully that message is stated and doubled down on tonight by our president.
Joe, a lot of those protests are in response to the treatment of African Americans. Last week, the president rolled out what he called the Platinum Plan to boost economic activity among African Americans, and particularly their businesses. In your words, what would this plan do?
This plan would absolutely revitalize the inner cities. Of course, you know that we have a lot of corruption when it comes to inner cities that are predominantly ran by Democrats. And so hopefully this upcoming election, we can get these people out of office so we can get some economic development and empowerment back to our communities. I was able to go to Atlanta and hear the president talk about this economic empowerment plan, and I was really impressed. I was really surprised because I've never seen an agenda for the Black community like I've seen this president lay out before. And I look forward to this economic improvement. I'm telling you, the inner cities need it, but we also need to vote for people who want to see us do better instead of voting for our comfortability.
All right, Joe Collins joining us from California this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Well, another topic likely to be addressed at tonight's debate, the integrity of the November election.
Yeah, the president has decried universal mail-in voting and cast doubt over election security. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy has the latest on voting in this pandemic.
Voters to cast their ballots by mail. It'll help reduce crowds in polling places and help prevent the spread of COVID. But some feel it creates new opportunities to commit fraud. Each state offers mail-in absentee voting, though 1/3 requires a reason for voting by mail. In some states, a ballot is automatically mailed to every eligible voter, which the president is warning against.
The biggest threat to this election is these unsolicited ballots sent out by the millions.
Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, and Utah conduct elections entirely by mail, though voters can still vote in person if they choose. And according to polling, 46% of registered voters prefer it. Right now, 5 states conduct elections entirely by mail-in prior to the pandemic with no cases or no major cases of fraud. Does that success not give the president confidence in mail-in voting?
So those states have had time and a history of doing having a workable system, and one that has been done for many years, for many election cycles, to move the entire country to mass mail-in voting all at once and have an entirely new system, and do that in just a few short months is an untenable and an unworkable proposition.
Not all mail-in ballots will be counted by Election Day. For some states, it could take days, a week, or even longer to tally the final results. Massachusetts, Mississippi, and Maryland do not permit the processing of mailed ballots until after the polls close on Election Day. All of this prompting calls to vote in person.
Line spacing, wearing masks, sanitation stations inside and out. If they do that, you can vote safely in person. So I think this rush to vote by mail is unwise and not a good idea.
According to data from the Election Assistance Commission, an independent agency of the U.S. government, some 28 million mail-in ballots went missing in the 4 elections held between 2012 and 2018. Is that a cause for concern?
Well, it could be a cause for concern for voters because they want to know if they send their ballot or request their ballot, where is it? And so there are many states and counties that provide a service called ballot tracking for the voters.
Investigations show voter fraud does exist, with recent cases in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia, California, Illinois, and at least 6 other states.
They can make forgeries of these ballots. They can do things that will blow your mind. And the Democrats know it's wrong. They know it's going to end up being a disaster.
Security measures to protect mail-in voting include hand-marked paper ballots. 31 states conduct signature verification, and 8 states require a witness signature in addition to the voter's signature.
We want to have clean and fair elections. The bigger issue is that ballots may not be counted because of some error on the part of voters, or the Postal Service doesn't get the ballot back in time.
Al Palmer recommends people start the voting by mail or absentee early. You can even call your local election office to make sure they receive your ballot. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, Washington.
All right, thank you, Ben. And here with us now is our CBN News chief political analyst, David Brody. David, the first debate finally here. It feels like we've been waiting a while for this. What do you expect tonight?
Look, here's the bottom line. I'm just going to sum it up in 5 seconds. Biden has to just not mess up, and he needs to not mess up big time. In other words, he can't kill 200 million people of COVID by the end of the debate. You know what I'm saying? Not that he's going to recite the Declaration of Independence, but he can't recite it and then forget what the Declaration of Independence said. In other words, he's had all these horrible moments. He cannot afford a horrible moment tonight. So, in essence, he'll win the debate if he just kind of keeps it there. He doesn't even need to be here, Jen and John. He just needs to be right about here. Go to Wilmington and Cleveland, go back to the basement, and he's won the debate. That's all he needs to do. Here's the problem. I can't wait till 9 o'clock Eastern because there could be some problems with that.
David, what about Donald Trump? You know, he often is a counterpuncher. Do you think he'll go after Joe Biden, or will he wait until he's punched first?
No, I think he's going to go right after Biden. I think Biden's going to go right after Trump. Remember, so Biden wants to center on COVID-19 and healthcare. That's what he wants to talk about. The president has a different problem. We talked about Joe Biden's problems. Here's the president's problem. He talks too much. He tweets too much. Tone it down. Less is more for the president. Hey, this just in. It's not going to happen. He's going to talk, and he's going to talk, and he's going to talk. And so that could get him in trouble tonight.
David, a new Washington Post ABC News poll shows a broad enthusiasm gap. 71% of registered voters who support Trump say they're very enthusiastic to cast that ballot, while it's just 51% for Joe Biden. Is this a game about turnout? And also, does this account for those who are motivated just to vote against Trump?
Right. So it can be a potential game changer, but here's the problem for Trump. That's 71% in terms of enthusiasm. That's 71%. Which is over 51% for Biden. So that 20% gap, they better get out and vote. That's what Trump needs. So think about it. If that enthusiasm gap holds, and indeed a lot of those Biden folks just say, you know what, I've got something better to do that night. Netflix has got something pretty good. Then Joe Biden's in trouble. So that's Donald Trump's saving grace here, potentially his only hope, that the enthusiasm gap translates on election night and Biden's numbers are just okay and Trump's numbers are through the roof. So I will say one last thing. Remember, 86% of people say they've made up their mind. The ones that are going to vote say they've made up their mind. We've got 14% of Americans who say they're going to vote who can be persuaded. That's what we're looking at.
Evangelicals, some of the president's strongest supporters, David. A new reporting out today, though, in The Atlantic cites former aides who accuse the president of privately mocking Christians. You know, many evangelicals who support the president, you've heard it all the time, David, I hear it too, they support his policies, not necessarily his personality. So in that regard, does this article even matter?
No, it doesn't matter at all. But look, let me say a couple things about this article. First of all, if you delve into the article, we're talking about incidents that happened in 2015 and 2016. And guess who the source on the article is for the most part? Michael Cohen. There you go. The Atlantic is writing the piece. I mean, folks, you know, I feel like Biden now. Hey, folks, you know, look, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of put the pieces together. And then there are a couple former aides in the piece that don't give their name. So, you know, you take it with a grain of salt. I will say this. I can speak from experience on one issue or one time that Donald Trump talked to me about evangelicals. It was I'm not going to name the people, but they were part of the TBN crowd, a bit also Pentecostal, very charismatic. And he looked over at me. This was at a dinner we had in 2015. He looked over at me and said, wow, can you get a load of all of that? Wow, that's some wild stuff. So in other words, this was all kind of bizarre to him. You know, the Pentecostal charismatic movement. So there is some of that for sure. But all this other stuff, look, I don't know what to tell you. If you want to take Michael Cohen's word for it, be my guest.
David, we are out of time. David Brody, CBN News Chief Political Analyst. Thank you, David.
Thanks.
Coming up, a somber milestone in the coronavirus pandemic and the latest on testing when Faith Nation returns.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, you know, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Wildfires are devastating California's wine country, and tonight at least 3 people are dead. Some 60 Napa Valley wineries are in the burn zone. 70,000 people in Sonoma County are under an evacuation warning. In Napa, the glass fire has burned 11,000 acres. And in Shasta, the Zog fire is burning more than 1,000 acres an hour. And the weather in the region is not helping either. The forecast calling for gusty winds, high temperatures, and low humidity.
And Jenna, the world reached a grim mile marker Monday, passing 1 million deaths from COVID-19. That's greater than the population of the city of Austin, Texas, for perspective. The United States has the most deaths, more than 205,000. It also has the most cases, surpassing 7 million people. The White House on Monday announced a new initiative to increase public testing to some of the hardest hit communities.
Really could not be easier than this. This is a very sophisticated little piece of cardboard.
We're announcing our plan to distribute 150 million Abbott rapid point-of-care tests. This will be more than double the number of tests already performed.
And concerns of a second wave are mounting as we quickly approach the flu season. 33 states already are seeing an increase in new cases. A recent surge of cases in Brooklyn and Queens, New York, has health officials there considering a lockdown in some neighborhoods.
Well, to Louisville, Kentucky, where the grand jury transcript in the Breonna Taylor case will now be released. The attorney for an unidentified grand juror on the case filed a motion on behalf of his client to release the transcript.
This is an issue that is about accountability, it's about public trust, and it's about transparency.
After refusing less than a week ago, Kentucky Attorney General James Cameron is now prepared to release grand jury testimony as early as tomorrow. And we'll be right back.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Welcome back. Well, it's just a few days ago that the Return and Franklin Graham's prayer march took place right here in the nation's capital.
Yeah, it was an incredible turnout. And October 6th, another important prayer gathering will center on the site where the Pilgrims landed, built and prayed in 1620. Paul Strand has that story.
The return here on the National Mall is certainly a good start to returning the nation to God, but it doesn't end here. Next stop, Plymouth, Massachusetts, where 400 years ago, the Pilgrims made a sacred covenant with God that this would be a nation to love Him, serve Him, and follow His ways.
There, Carter Conlon of New York City's Times Square Church believes he was led sovereignly to the very plot of land where the Pilgrims began to build and pray. And that's where he'll lead a nationwide call to God from 7 to 9 p.m. October 6th. It'll be live streamed so anyone, anywhere can join right in.
We're going to be hosting a prayer meeting from the very house built in 1790 that sits on the portion of ground where the first house in America was built by the Plymouth settlers in 1620.
A promo for the October 6th gathering shows those Pilgrims that first winter were freezing, starving, and deathly ill, but full of faith.
It was in that house that in a position of weakness, with half of them having given their lives the first year for the cause of freedom, of religious freedom, they prayed.
And God promised them 400 years ago they would have that freedom here in what became the land of the free. But what have we done with that freedom?
Conlon points out America enslaved an entire race of people, and today American families are broken, abortion's rampant, and the nation is unraveling.
We're going to ask God for forgiveness for what we did as a nation with the freedom that God gave us.
This video contains Conlon's plea to America to join him October 6th.
Every one of us are being called at this moment, whether you live in New York City or you live in Ohio, in a small town. Everyone has a part in what God wants to do. He's searching the land again. This is what we're facing in America today. God is looking for a people to agree with him that he could show us a mercy moment again in spite of our behavior.
God himself has called this prayer meeting because I believe he wants to show a moment of mercy for this nation.
The Christian who bought the property where the Pilgrims first prayed began to feel that for some reason God wanted him to get together with Pastor Conlin. Then a few weeks later, the pastor just happened to sit on a bench not 30 yards from the property. They met and began to pray.
There was such an undeniable presence of God in that house that when I went back to my hotel room that night, I couldn't sleep. And I said, Lord, why did you lead me there?
And God revealed to Conlin in 2 Chronicles chapter 6 and 7 how he'd wait and wait in a place for his sinful people to return to him.
And my heart will be there perpetually. In other words, I'll be waiting. If you stray from me, I will wait here for you to come back.
He's been waiting in Plymouth, Massachusetts, 400 years. Now, October 6th, it's time to return to him. Paul Strand, CBN News.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
And finally tonight, a child's first word is reason for any parent to celebrate. But Jennifer, one Ohio family, that finally came after years of waiting.
5-year-old Micah has autism and was nonverbal. That is, until he started repeating his family's names for the first time. Here it is on video.
Ready? Say Micah. Micah.
And after sharing the video with family and friends, Micah's mom actually put it on TikTok on her page. And Micah, while he's not yet going out of his way to say words on his own, he is making a lot of progress.
Well, thank you so much for watching Faith Nation.
Have a great evening.